A.
I'm just kidding, I meant A!
Now go to 1.
Now go to 1. Just like you can go flying.
Sorry, I'll start calling that out too.
Oh no. I had the best view. I was sitting here like being quiet and Yuki's standing at the back. She's like looking around those and whoosh.
I'm not masterminding any of you.
You're all on your own.
Hello there and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about if raiding is something for everyone. Spoiler alert, it's not. Truthfully, I want to discuss the reasoning behind why you might or might not want to raid and why it's totally okay if you don't. But given how much fantastic content we have associated for it both in-game and outside of the game, such as the world's first clear competitions, multiple entire communities based around it such as the Balanced Discord, FF Logs and many more, and the thousands upon thousands of players that it attracts, there is no doubt a massive reason to look into the raiding scene of Final Fantasy XIV and try and see if it aligns with your personal goals or just plain fun in Final Fantasy XIV. That being said, there are a lot of reasons that raiding actually might not be for you, and I do want to talk about those reasons too in this video, and why it's more than okay that, hey, if you don't want to raid, don't do it. So as I'm getting my studio set up for the past few days, I want to kind of have a light discussion on Final Fantasy XIV raiding and why you maybe should consider it or might maybe avoid it. In my opinion, raiding really got its biggest start in World of Warcraft when you were fighting bosses like Ragnaros, Onyxia, and so many more. This was aspirational content that the best of the best players want to check into and test their mettle against. This also earned players some amazing loot like Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, yeah, the meme, earning players huge reputations on their server if they had this gear. Over time, as YouTube and streaming games got popular, raiding really became more of a public event and a spectacle for everyone to see and partake in, even if they weren't into raiding themselves. This has really not changed over time, as currently in Final Fantasy XIV you can see people happily AFK for hours on end in Limsa Lominsa, perhaps leaving on their computer when at work or going to sleep, the power bill, but the point is they want to show off their sweet raid glamour to everyone and have you drool over it. Or how in Final Fantasy XIV we have many streamers streaming their entire raid completion and events tied just to that. I really wish I could find it, but I do remember that one streamer was gleefully doing a stream of them just making persimmon leaf sushi back when that was the best food. But it doesn't just end there, because all you see during a raid stream is going to be the actual performance of the raid. And we all know that even Beyonce practices before she performs, so here comes in the communities around raiding that really push it to the next level. The Balanced Discord is a massive repository of information, and while generally overwhelming to newer players, really does help people end game wise optimize their end game rotations and goals. I can personally, however, attest to how friendly and welcoming they are, so if you ever want to give it a shot in there and just ask questions, like they treated at least me really well. FF Logs is also a massive website dedicated around the parsing of players and helping players fine-tune and record their performance, sometimes just to show it off admittedly. Ultimately, at the end of all this, you get some sweet high item level gear that boosts your performance a decent bit, and some nice glamour and awesome looking mounts if you want. Kind of to wrap this all together as a single point, there's a tremendous amount of hype around raiding in Final Fantasy XIV and a lot of rewards for doing it if you want to. And that's where I need to mention what motivates me personally to rage in Savage content currently. It's gotta be the people and the experiences I have with them. Raiding when you are with the right people is just so many, it's just such a tremendous amount of fun, and it's just so rewarding to be with your friends having a good whack at some aspirational content. For me, it really isn't about the gear. It isn't about the fame, more for me about helping the people and getting together with your friends and having a really great time. And let's be super honest and blunt here. Is getting a mere 10 item levels really worth it if you're not into it? No. No, it's not, especially with how progression works in Final Fantasy XIV, where it's basically a relatively low bar to enter raids as each patch cycle refreshes opportunities to join. Raiding's top tier bleeding edge gear is not so vastly different from what you can obtain with tomestones that you really require it to complete any content outside of Savage and Ultimate raids. A lot of that honestly boils down to, hey, I want to parse even higher, I want to get even faster at this, I want to clear this much more, how to say it, effectively, quicker. And as I said, there are also many other reasons why you should consider not raiding, and why it's more okay to not do it. It's something that is extremely time consuming to get into for most people, and it really does take a significant amount of effort to get into a raid group, especially if you're a raid leader actually kind of on the other side. You have a lot of extra overhead work to keep people together. There are life events that can sometimes come up, like a job interview, child aggro for parents, and the like, and it can lead you to really need to find a replacement, and that's just another responsibility to have on your plate. And then there's the entire process of recruitment, and this is really a double-edged sword for both the person seeking the group and the group. Different playstyles impacts how the group flows in the actual battle. So you want to recruit someone that has already completed Eden's first Savage raid, but hey, they looked up a particular different video than you have, showing a particular technique that they followed religiously. However, your group followed a very different video, and so there's going to be some ramp up time to get everyone on the same page. Maybe their technique, however, really does work better, and that the group that they are now just a part of just learned something. That's fantastic for everyone. But then there's the question of how everyone gets along, and this is really a make or break situation for any team, whether it is in a work environment or like in a real world job or in a raid group. A single angry, salty person can completely taint the group's morale, everyone in the group's morale, and ruin the experience for everyone, making the process very, very painful. It's sad when I can say that I have had some battlefield groups that are more coordinated than some of my workplace groups. But reality. And in fact, that makes me want to bring up my own personal experience before getting my current raid group, Party Finder. The biggest instance of the rating lottery I can think of. I'll just be direct here. There have been many instances of Party Finder groups that were great and we were getting along great on Discord, and then sadly there were many instances that devolved into yelling fits and screaming. Literally screaming. Part of me wishes I record some of that. The other part of me wishes that I had like a Men in Black like memory eraser just gone. I really don't want to remember it. Like the salt, the anger, the frustration, it was just peaking and so not enjoyable. Honestly, I almost put aside raiding in general the first week of this expansion after getting sworn at for apparently not healing or DPSing enough on my scholar. Spoiler alert, lo and behold, I went on to clear like an hour after that. Yeah, where was it last? It was really shortly after. But there's no two ways about saying it. Elitism does exist, and so does the toxicity, and so does scapegoating. You can be performing, as FFLog says, purple, or pretty good, or like even better than that, and you can still be blamed for the group's performance, and you're just sitting there like, okay. So there are honestly even people who will pull up your parses on FF logs just to berate you in game for not parsing in the top parses. And for the record, that is an inherently flawed scale, because that is something that is also really dependent on if you have a team buffing your damage, how your team performs, if you have the best in slot gear and consumables, etc. So it is an inherently flawed system, no different than the fundamentally busted body mass index, or BMI, that doesn't take into account different people have literally different shoulder heights, widths, frames, and whatever else. Around elitism and toxicity reeling it back. Rating really sucked, and it was really emotionally draining for me the first week. I do personally care how I perform, and I don't want to let anyone down, and so that really did drag me into a dark place. Cue turning on light. Few things honestly suck more than having someone tell you, oh, because of you, you denied not only yourself to the clear of this raid, but every single other person here. Yeah, as if I really wanted to steal your clear. Yeah, that's totally why I joined this group. But as I said before, I also had some amazing experiences, and my current rating group makes it so great. And if you have the right people with the right mentality, then it honestly is so freaking fun. But here, I think I've truly overdone that point to the ground and back. You get it. I'm sorry. But even if you do have the right people around you, you might still not want to raid. And that's something I can relate to. And honestly, I think that's something that's fantastic about Final Fantasy XIV. The last expansion, for the first two sets of raids, I honestly mostly stopped caring about raiding completely. Like, I wasn't viewing streams, I wasn't looking at what the bosses were, I just didn't care. And I instead focused on crafting, gathering, and housing. Breaking my first 100 million on my crafters was a huge achievement, and doing so much other good stuff there, and I was totally happy with that decision. Honestly, I was really happy, and I still have no regrets, and I don't feel I missed out by skipping those two raids. Final Fantasy XIV is first and foremost a game, really. And it is one of those games where it has so many amazingly well fleshed out systems that even if you choose not to take part in this raiding, this game really has so much to offer. Like we have housing, gardening, pictures, and in-game videography, glamour, crafting and gathering, questing, and storylines and lore, PvP, golden saucer, and roleplay, and the list keeps just going on and on from there. And so while I think that while there is absolutely a large portion of the player base that is super into rating and aspirational content, that even if you choose to not take part in it, that's more than okay. I think that also another thing is that there's a large preponderance of like YouTube channels and Twitch streams and stuff kind of covering that content, and so it might seem like there's almost like an overemphasis on it that perhaps represents more of the player base than actually like partakes in it, because a lot of people, how to say it, almost live vicariously when they watch the streams or the YouTube video covering the raid, whereas they don't personally do raiding themselves. Like that was me like way back when I wasn't raiding at all. And plus, honestly, if you ever do want to get back into raiding or just like randomly start, I honestly need to say that the bar to entry item level wise is far from insurmountable. Each new raid cycle there's a boost to item level, which means you aren't needing to raid last tier to raid the new tier. Crafted gear especially breaks down this barrier to entry very, very, very quickly in my personal experience. So to kind of tie it all together, is raiding worth it or not? That is something only you can decide for yourself. Everyone is going to have their own hot take on this, and ultimately, at the end of the day, if you're having fun, then why should anyone judge? They shouldn't, and if they do, oh well, that's their problem. If you're happy and having fun crafting or focusing on housing or raiding or whatever you want or any other aspect of the game, no one's entitled to take that away. You do you. So that kind of ends what was originally planned to be a very short discussion video. That has failed spectacularly. Oops. Anyhow, if you want to help me out, please hit that like and subscribe button and join in on the discussion below, especially since I'm new to everything. Really helps so very much. Anyhow, I will catch up with you with a new video tomorrow, I swear. Take care and have a great day.